Hello. Good evening, everyone. So we are here after CDC Pro Mock 8. So how was the exam and how did you do? So Harshit was not comfortable with RC and Saurav is saying quant was very lengthy. Okay. So and Kasturi is saying DILR was tough. Okay, so let's look at the data and figure out. Okay, art of anything is code 103. And okay,
So
that's
I think let's Shashank, when we were looking at the design of the paper vis-a-vis what we saw as the final scores. Let's go section by section. Right, I think Ambilasha will join a little later to talk about English. So the idea was, guys, when the idea of the paper was to kind of keep it somewhere close to 2021/2024. If you actually look at 2021 and 2024, right? Of course, 2024 had a slightly more choice of questions, whereas two questions more in terms of choice. But 2021 and 2024, we think are very close to each other, and we wanted to plug it somewhere there. Unlike the previous CDC Pro, where we wanted it to be a little tougher than the 2024. So, Shashank, I mean, your expectations of what would happen in DI. So let's probably start with DI and quant, and then move on to VA. I think Abhilasha will join a little later. Uh,
so.
your expectation of what the paper would be and what you thought was the final scores. I mean, where do you see? I mean, you have any points of view here?
I thought when I saw the paper, this one, I saw this paper, I thought this paper was similar to the previous Open CDC. All the sets were easier. And the thing is, there were some sets that were shorter, some sets that were a little more difficult, little more lengthier. So basically, the thing is, eventually it came down to selection. So who picked up the shorter set scored higher, and anyone who picked up the lengthier sets scored lower. So ये अब ये वाला वो 2024 वाला सीन हो गया कि आता तो सारे सेट है, कौन सा वाला उठाए?
Hmm.
लास्ट मॉक में भी यही सिनेरियो था, आते तो सारे सेट हैं, कौन सा वाला उठाए? राइट,
Hmm.
लेकिन इसके पहले वाले अगर आप मॉक्स में देखो तो सारे सेट आते ही नहीं थे। तो वहां पे जो सिलेक्शन था वो आसान था, जो नहीं आता है छोड़ दो, यहाँ पे सब आता है। तो उसकी वजह से आई थिंक द सिलेक्शन हैज बिकम मोर इम्पोर्टेंट। सो ऐसा लग रहा था कि पेपर थोड़ा सा आसान होगा, और देखा कि और जो 99 परसेंटाइल दिख रहा है वो भी आसानी है। सो
It looks very close, no? It looks very close to 2024. In fact, a little tougher than 2024, a little easier than 2021. However, I think that if this paper, I mean, I always uh, believe that if you do the same paper in the exam hall, I think that your scores could be about 2 to 3 marks lesser. So I always map it in such a way that the total score minus 6 or 7 will be the actual scores in the center. Okay. So I feel, I mean, at least from a design perspective, we seem to have got it right. I think very close to what it should. And
2024 के
my
हिसाब से
assumption is the CAT 2025 paper data interpretation LRDI DILR section will lie close to 2024, if at all marginally tougher. But I think it is a beautiful paper, I feel. Right, it gives you a very good normal curve. It gives people, I mean, it gives us the chance to see people who have attempted five, a lot of people who attempted 5 sets, some 4 sets, 3 sets, 2 sets, 1 set, which was not the case, let's say, in 2023 or 2022. Okay. So your sets, if you were to pick up, which ones would you start?
so this is the data set. Now if I wanted to start, if I were attempting this set, then I would say that I would have gone with the fifth set because it is the simple set of percentage. So मतलब परसेंटेज रेशियो का सेट था ये, इसमें और कुछ करना ही नहीं था, सीधे हर जो भी नंबर गिवन है उसको रेशियो में ब्रेक कर लो, परसेंटेज ब्रेक कर लो, सीधे आंसर आ जाएगा। और 5 मिनट का सेट है ये वाला। Now, thus, if you look at set number, this one, fourth set, Bihar election. So Bihar election was, it was the most difficult set according to me in among the 5 sets. अगर ये किसी और भी मॉक में होता तो भी this is something that shouldn't have been done, क्योंकि बाकी 4 सेट बहुत आसान है। ये सेट में अगर आपको टेबल बनाना आ गया, आपको ये समझ में आ गया कि टेबल फिल कैसे करनी है, आपका आंसर आ जाएगा 5 मिनट में। लेकिन वो समझने के लिए टेबल कैसे बनानी है, टेबल कैसे फिल करनी है, दैट इज गोइंग टू टेक अ लॉट ऑफ टाइम। तो उसलिए फोर्थ वाला सेट तो नहीं करना चाहिए। सो अगर मुझे जाना होगा, आई वुड बी गोइंग विद द फिफ्थ सेट फर्स्ट। उसके बाद आई एम गोइंग टू पिक अप द फर्स्ट सेट, दैट वाज वेरी इजी. Then I'm going to pick the third set because it is a set theory, and I would say I have little biased towards set
But
theory.
third set seems to have very low attempts, no? Second set looks like people have attempted more people have attempted second set.
हाँ, उसके बाद मैं सेकंड सेट पे जाऊंगा। So set theory मैं इसलिए भी हूँ because I am a little biased towards set theory. I'm little more comfortable with the set theory. So वो थोड़ा सा सीन है। और इस वाले सेट को लेकर मैं थोड़ा सा बायस्ड इसलिए भी हूँ कि ये सेट ही मैंने बनाया हुआ था। तो मुझे लगता है कि ये सेट होना चाहिए था। एंड आई थिंक एनीवन हु हैज अटेम्प्टेड, इसमें ऑल 5 क्वेश्चंस जो हैं, आप if you make the set theory and you plug in the numbers, so numbers नहीं fill होंगे, पूरा variable के फॉर्म में है पूरा सेट। So
Shashank, set theory is like PNC, na? People are not sure whether कि आएगा कि नहीं आएगा answer. So I think there's a tendency to attempt set theory questions is normally a little on the lower side.
लेकिन इसमें जो था, if you look at the questions, आपको समझ में आ जाएगा इसमें कोई वैल्यू नहीं आने की, कोई भी वैल्यू, because first question itself was telling कि what is the minimum number of people. इसका मतलब whatever you are going to get, you are getting in terms of variable. उसके बाद हर क्वेश्चन में कंडीशन लगी हुई है। सो आई थिंक it was a little more difficult as people thought, but I think according to me it was very easy set. ठीक है। So second set I would say I found it a decent one. So ये set अगर समझ में आ गया तो, but still if you look at this, the numbers केवल एक क्वेश्चन है जो 50% से ऊपर अटेम्प्ट गया है, बाकी किसी क्वेश्चन में 50% से ऊपर अटेम्प्ट ही नहीं हुआ है। एंड दैट इज एवरेज टाइम ऑफ 8.4, मतलब 8.4 के हिसाब से तो सारे सेट ही किए होंगे उन्होंने। अगर आप यहाँ पे डेटा उठा के देखो, द फर्स्ट सेट इलेक्ट्रीशियन वाला जो सेट है, ये पूरे सेट में फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन में 4.83, मतलब ऑन एन एवरेज 8 से 10 मिनट के अंदर ये सेट हो गया लोगों से। Even if you look at this set theory set, ये भी 6-7-8 मिनट में लोगों से हो गया। And this second set, when people are saying it is easier, if you look at the average time is highest in that set. Average time is close to 10-12 minutes. 8.4 तो पहले क्वेश्चन में, उसके बाद पर क्वेश्चन जो ओवरऑल टाइम अगर ऐड कर लें तो 11-12 मिनट के आसपास ये सेट लगा हुआ है। So
so that is, I mean, and that I think the choice was between doing something that I don't understand vis-a-vis doing something that I know will take more time. So I probably that's the reason why people would have chosen set 2, I guess.
ठीक है। So basically I would like to pick this question. Could you give the analysis not just from 99 percentiles view but from below average or average students view? So basically मैं यहाँ पे बस इतना बोलना चाहूँगा कि इसमें अगर आपको 2 से 3 सेट पिक करने हैं और and you are average or little below average, then I would say go for set 1, set 5 तो must है। ये set 5 I was expecting more people are going to do. Set 5 में कुछ भी नहीं है, it's pure percentage and ratio questions. So if you look at it, you will get the values.
So if there are 2 sets, Shashank, if there are 2 sets that I should have done or I should have tried, I mean, if I'm somebody who's struggling to do 2 sets, right? Which are the 2 sets that I should have done? Set 1 and set 5.
set 1 and set 5.
Okay. So what was the sequence that you did? 1, 5.
I have done 5 1,
Okay.
3 4, 5 1
5,
3
1.
2 4.
Okay. 3 because ये कहाँ से आ रहा है आवाज? अच्छा. 3 because you managed to. I mean that set theory is something that you like, right?
हाँ हाँ.
Okay. Okay.
So apart from that, मेरे पास कोई वो रीजन नहीं है उसको सिलेक्ट करने का. आई एम मोर कंफर्टेबल इन सेट थ्योरी. इसीलिए मुझे लगता है कि सेट थ्योरी, मतलब हम लोग सेट थ्योरी पे फोकस भी बहुत करते हैं. ठीक है. अब रचना इज सेइंग सर लुक एट द थर्ड क्वेश्चन ऑफ द ब्रदर सेट, बिकॉज इसका आंसर 6000 है, लेकिन आपने सॉल्यूशन में रचना उसका आंसर 14000 लिया. Kindly recheck the solution, you will get the answer. The answer is ये आपका 14000 ही है, 6000 नहीं है. ठीक है. Now ये Utsav is saying that don't know what happened. This was my 18th mock and scored my worst. In the last few mocks, I was scoring 70, 80. Scored only 30. Shiku sir, what's your opinion on this? Shiku sir, you are on mute. आपकी आवाज नहीं आ रही है.
Yeah. Utsav, I think I will say ignore this, right? I mean, there is a time which is where I think this is probably the time, right, when a little bit of fatigue sets in for a lot of people, right? In fact, there was one student the other day who was speaking to me. He also had the same problem that he has been doing very well till now. Suddenly, his score has dropped to 50 from 80s or something like that. So there are times when you'll have to ignore. It could just be that bad day. It's like वो कहते हैं ना कि class is permanent, form is temporary.
Temporary.
That's the same story. So I would say कि don't see too much into this. However, if uh, there are places where you say that there are certain types of questions, as your attempts in quant has gone down. One my expectation from quant section in this paper was that the attempts would have gone down a little bit because of the length of the questions. The average length of the questions we had increased a bit in order to make sure ki, uh, it reflects some of the previous CAT papers where the length of the questions made a big difference to how uh, the scores were influenced, right? Uh, and I would say it's a very important aspect because sometimes it takes time to read, understand the question, and if you are very disturbed, I think reading takes more time. Hence, instead of reading it once, you end up reading it twice to understand the same question. So I thought the length of the paper would have made it a little tough. So, Utsav, my point is look at any behavioral changes that have happened, right? I would say कि tension मत लो. ठीक है? 18th mock and score was worst. In the last few mocks, 70s to 80s. In fact, if you have got 70 or 80 in the last mock, there's no reason why you should have got less in this. But if we have got less in it, just ignore it. It might not be a bad idea to take a break of 1 or 2 weeks in between, right? If you're doing too much of testing, sometimes this happens. If you're doing too much of testing, the fatigue sets in. So it might actually be a good thing to take a break and then come back with much greater vigor, right? And this break can be used to do whatever revision you would want to do. So don't worry about it.
Suryansh, Ratna, just give us a moment. We'll take every query. Don't worry about it. Please do not type same message 50 times. ठीक है, we'll come to every query one by one. So let's take Suryansh question. Doing silly mistake like panicking, wrong values, opposite ratio kind of things. ठीक है. So sir, what's your take on this?
Because in my view, there is nothing called a silly mistake, right? A silly mistake, if you define silly mistake as something taking a wrong value, um, I think you will probably give it the less seriousness than what it deserves. So it could, I mean, I think I understand the nature of mistake that you have done is silly, but it's not a silly mistake, because I guess it has a lot to do with your ability to concentrate in the exam, right? I think it happens to a lot of people that they're taking the wrong values. I think that it happens fundamentally because your mind is somewhere else, right? So watch out for this. If it is repeatedly happening, I think you need to figure out a way to make sure that the data that is given is properly noted down somewhere. So I think that's probably what you should focus on. It don't brand it as silly mistake, right? But if you're conceptually able to do things, I think this is something, just being a little mindful will help you sort out this problem.
And in my opinion, I think if you are attempting 13, 14 questions and you are getting couple of questions wrong because you have picked up wrong values and you have made calculation error. So I think itna chalta hi hai. We never talk about 100% accuracy because every time someone is taking mock, couple of errors are there. Wo hongi. But if there are a lot of errors, you are doing 14 questions and attempting 14 questions or 6 में calculation error हो गई. Now this is something that is not acceptable. सो वो जो चीज है उस पर हमें ध्यान देना चाहिए कि वो नहीं होना चाहिए. एक तो क्वेश्चन को लेके इतना स्ट्रेस लेने की कभी जरूरत नहीं होती है.
Okay. So I think what we will do is, I think, quickly run through the other sections because there's so many questions coming up. I would like to handle all of those. We will like to sort out all of this. Maybe quickly go to Abhilasha, get her views on VARC, and then go to Quant. We'll get these views about the paper, our individual views about the paper in the next 15-20 minutes, and then spend the entire time picking up the questions from the students. Abhilasha, design. When you designed it, what was the intent? Was it supposed to be easier than the last year's CAT, or you found that surprisingly it seems to be a little easier than last year's CAT? I think it's 1 or 2 questions easier than last year's CAT.
No, so it's not really that easy. We have mapped it on CAT 24 in the terms of topics and questions. The level of difficulty was slightly easier because the last mock that we had found that the students were very, very unhappy with the level of difficulty. It was a tough one. So we came back and we said, okay, let's give you a slightly easier one on the same lines as CAT 24. So the pattern remained, but yes, just the tad bit easier, I feel. But otherwise, we stuck to CAT 24, and that's how the paper was. It was, in terms of scores, I see the scores have mapped out to maybe CAT 21 in terms of its scores. If you look at it, it's quite easily mapping out to that. But other than that, the paper was, in terms of design, very much similar to CAT 24, which is what we wanted to do. If you look at the paper, the questions, of course, were fairly doable, except for the VA questions, which were pretty tough. But then that is something that will happen across sections. Sometimes you will have some questions to be a little more difficult than the others. And I think this time we really wanted the VA to be slightly more tougher than the RC. The RCs, I won't say were as easy, but there was a sort of a uniform sort of a distribution of level of difficulties among the three sections. So it's among the three types. So there were about 7-8 easy questions, about 7-8 moderate sort of questions, and again 7-8 pretty difficult questions, which were, most of them were the VA questions. So that's how the paper was. I think a lot of people found the second RC to be fairly easy. The
Shashank,
first,
can you move to the next?
Shashank, can you go to this is the one. Thank you. Yes. So the last few questions, of course, are the VA questions where you see a lot of reds. You'll see about 5 red marks there. Those are the VA questions, the summary and the sentence placement questions, which were fairly difficult. If you look at the RCs, then again, I will say RCs were averagely difficult, not very difficult, some difficult questions here or there. When I was doing my analysis of this paper, I found that every passage did definitely have one question that you would have to spend time on. Maybe you would get it right, but you would have to spend time on. So in that sense, it was a good paper. People would have to spend time on thinking about the questions, and then only they would be able to get it right.
No,
So that was that's what.
what was it about the parasummary and old sentence, odd sentence that you thought? I mean, all the five of them seem to be reds.
Yeah. But sir, sometimes they have to be difficult. No, generally what we do is the VA questions are not so difficult. At least the sentence placement questions are fairly easy. Summary, every time out of the 2, 3 questions, there is at least one that is very, very easy. So we definitely wanted to make the VA a little more difficult. Not too much, but yes. So I think that somehow the students have found it a little more difficult than what we would have thought it was. So that's how.
Okay.
So let's move to QA. देख लेते हैं, माहौल समझ लेते हैं, then we will pick up the questions. Now, in QA, it was a little easier as that's what data says, but my gut feeling says it's not that easy.
हाँ, मुझे little surprised क्योंकि I think on an average there are not too many questions which make you think too much, think a little hard, but the average length of the questions has gone up, and that I thought was what would have made this a little more tougher. But otherwise, compared to the last paper that we have seen, I think this probably was a wee bit on the easier side. So from that perspective, I was thinking more like 3940 is should be there for the 99.5 percentile. So, but there are quite a few greens. So if you actually look at it, go to the next slide. You see there's so many greens. However, what needs to be noticed or observed is the these are questions where people who solved the questions or attempted the questions got them right. But if you actually look at the total number of questions which has got more than 50% of people attempting, that's a paltry 6 or 7 questions, right? Which means 22 में से you have only about 6 or 7 questions that have been attempted by more than 50% of people. That I think is a little disturbing because there are lots of arithmetic questions and all of that. So in that sense, a little surprise. However, I'm not surprised to look at the total number of greens here. You see, unlike the last paper that we did was we kind of tried to design in such a way that what would happen if you see that the first 10 to 12 questions are tough. How do you react to it, right? In the actual exam, I can understand that if the first 6 to 7 questions are tough, and you're not able to do more than 1 or 2 of them, the panic sets in unless somebody is very clear in his or her mind that they're going to be easy questions towards the later part and ignore the fact that they're not able to do the first few questions. You tend to lose your cool. Unless you are of that personality, you tend to lose your cool. So whereas in this paper we said that we'll try to uh, make it look tough, but the questions ideally should be easy, right? And I know that people would have taken a lot more time to solve the questions, right? In terms of because of the length of the passage, reading the same length of the questions, reading the same question twice to understand it would have taken them a wee bit more than the previous paper. But fundamentally, I think they would have, if they had been a little selective, they would have got the first. They would have easily done about 6 to 7 questions the first 12 to 13. First, if you look at the first 13, 50% of the questions were doable, right? Maybe more, if you are willing to give more time. And I believe the attempts in the later part has dropped down, basically because I think it is a little tiring. I found it a little tiring to do this paper because लंबा है. आप especially आप DI करके आओगे या content, VA and DI करके आओगे, आपको लगता है कि it's a little fatigue factor will set in to do a paper like this, right? So that's where I feel the important part is. Uh, Otherwise, I think it looks like a fairly decent performance, right? 42 is okay. 42 is definitely okay. And I am always going to put one 10% center correction. So अगर यहाँ पे इसमें 42 है, आप सेंटर जाओगे 39 होगा, right? 106 है इसमें, 109 is right, or 99.5 overall. Center में जाओगे वो it will be close to 102, 103, right? I think it definitely will be about 6.5% to 7% drop in your scores in the center, right? And somebody was asking when is the next center mock? Next center mock I think would be scheduled sometime in November, I guess. Okay, so those are the comments, and let's see if we can pick up all the questions across areas. शुरू से करें क्या?
देख लेते हैं, अभी सब लोग वापस से पूछ लेंगे. So first Rachna has already posted her question multiple times. So Rachna, first of all, I would suggest you that learn to be patient because in the exam patience helps a lot. Don't be anxious. जो अभी तुमने इतने मैसेज भेज दिए तो उससे लग रहा है कि एंजाइटी का इशू है. एंजाइटी नहीं होनी चाहिए एग्जाम के बीच में. Because of that, even if you know a question, you will not be able to solve it. So you have 3 scores. You are scoring 10, 16, and 30. I would say LR is QA is fine. Maximum improvement you can have in VA. And if you are scoring 10, 15 marks in VA, then you are not going anywhere because you will not make the sectional cutoff. ठीक है. So VA में 30, 35, 40 marks तो बनता ही है, उससे कम में नहीं होगा. हाँ सर.
हाँ, 40 बनेगा तो बहुत ही अच्छी बात है, बट आई थिंक आपका looking at your performance, Rachna, I think 13 quant, I wouldn't be surprised if you put in your right amount of effort. Doing 2 sets in DI is something that you should definitely target. That's, we are talking about 8 to 10 questions, 2 sets. I would say your target must be at least 25 in DI. 30 seems okay in quant. And if you can manage to get 25 in verbal, बिना verbal के, forget about getting the 97 to 98 percentile वाला. आपका verbal improve करना ही पड़ेगा, right? Whatever you need to do, practice, reading, right? All of that. If you are, I'm assuming that, I hope this is a offbeat score. If you are around 20s, I think try to keep it consistently around 25 plus. Your score, you must, of course, it depends on the paper, right? But generally to get to 97, 98, your net score has to be around 75 to 80, right? If I go by last year's paper, you need to have to have scores around 80 plus, right? So बिना 80 plus के आप 97, 98 percentile पहुंचना मुश्किल है if I take the benchmark as last year's paper. And उसमें करने के लिए आपका verbal has to go up. 10 से नहीं होगा. अगर आप 25, 25, 30, 35 कर लो, right? 85 के पास, if you keep that as your incremental targets, it's something that might work for you.
So I think that anyone who wants to get a decent score, verbal is a must, not something that they can take a risk on it. Now GP sir has joined us. So Kshitij is asking how much one can expect in actual CAT if that's it. The question is not complete. So ठीक है. So GP sir, we were doing some questions, some answers. So पेपर तो आसान है ये वाला. GP sir, ये QA का एनालिसिस पेपर तो बहुत आसान है QA का. ठीक है. DILR is also considered as easier one. So now this Kshitij is asking this. Sir, how many marks one can expect if someone is scoring in 60s constantly?
How many marks can one expect? I mean, if you're getting 60s constantly in CL mocks, there's no reason why you will not get 60s in CAT mocks.
So 60s के आसपास ही एक्सपेक्ट करना चाहिए हमको.
नहीं ऊपर नीचे
Now,
जा सकता है, बट आई थिंक आई वुड से कि अगर आपका परसेंटाइल इफ इट इज एक्स, राइट, एंड इफ यू आर अराउंड द सेम परफॉर्मेंस इन द, आई मीन इन द एग्जाम, राइट, इफ यू फाइंड दैट you are taking a paper which is similar to the CAT mocks, right? I mean CL mocks. I think your percentile will be, I mean, close to whatever you are getting as percentile. If we what we find is statistically that if somebody is consistently around 97, 98 percentile in CAT, I think there's a fairly good chance that he might go slightly up, right? Um, uh, if you are at the lower part, right, I think the variability will always be much higher. If somebody is around 80, 85 percentile, variability is likely to be higher, because there even one or two questions getting right vis-a-vis the mocks could mean much bigger difference. So generally, to make a general statement, 60s consistently is a good score, but I think तुमको थोड़ा push करना चाहिए. अगर consistently आप 60s hit कर रहे हो, see if you can push it consistently up to around 70, 75. 75 is a very good score to get consistently in CL mocks. I mean, if you're lucky, you might get more in the actual mocks too.
so GP sir, should I share the paper? आपकी आवाज नहीं आ रही है.
और कोई questions लेते हैं? I think GP is.
So Miraj is posting this one consistently that sir we are getting around 89 to 93 percentile in mocks. Is it possible for me to get around 99 percentile? Yes, Miraj, but I think you need to figure out what are your strength areas, what are your weak areas. Getting 31 marks in VA, it's decent in this mock. 21 marks in LR, it's fine. 15 marks in QA, I would say in this particular mock, it's very low. I think you should have gotten at least 4 or 5 questions more right. So that is a place where you can improve. In LR, you could have gone up by a couple of questions, and VA also you could have gone with a couple of questions. तो उससे आराम से तुम्हारा you will end up at 99ish कुछ इम्प्रूवमेंट हो जाएगा. सर आप क्या बोलेंगे इस पे?
हाँ, I think I more or less agree with you. ठीक है. अमरीश भी कहता है. Amrish, I think this will be done by tomorrow. Right? I think one section which needs to be uploaded.
LR is done.
So it just got delayed a little bit. I mean, it might be done in the night. Don't be surprised, but hopefully definitely by tomorrow morning. Silly mistakes. ये सूर्यांश का हो गया ना? I think we just picked up.
So we have already.
अच्छा वैसे
this one.
Go on. Sir, when to know this fatigue sets is how I can know I practice PYQ but still not improving. You know, fatigue, you know that fatigue has set in when you don't look forward to taking a mock. And आपको लगता है कि I think I have to do it because I have to do it, not because I want to do it. I mean, if you're not looking forward to a Sunday, right, or a Saturday, whichever is the day, to take the mock because you're very, very enthusiastic about looking at your score, but you're a little scared, very anxious about taking a mock, I think, and not very excited. I think I feel fatigue comes in because of excitement. I mean, very, very obvious symptom is not excited about taking the mock. I would say excitement is the key word. So उस time पे I think it's very good to sit, analyze the old CAT papers, solve them, figure out what could have been the question. Is there any other variant of the same quant question that can be given? Are there any other questions you think if you were the question paper setter, you would ask any other questions. I think that's the way you must actually look at the past year's CAT papers to analyze the paper, right? For example, DI set, if you pick up a old DI set, take a look at it and say, if I were to set this paper, is there anything else that I would ask as a question from the students, right? I think that makes your analysis far more richer. फिटीक वाला ये तो था, और क्या था?
हाँ, Yukti is saying that last time I got 9908, but this time I got 90. How? Because I think you made more mistakes in this mock. Yukti, what else I can say?
Yukti, it's always I mean, it's a question of 3 or 4 questions here or there, right? So, but 99 at 108, I hope there's not 90 percentile, right? I mean, if it is 90 percentile with vis-a-vis 99 percentile, that's a massive difference. Which I think, for example, somebody was said that he was getting 70s to 80s, and in this mock he's got 30s, right? If that is the big swing, that's a kind of a swing. From a 99 marks to 90 marks, I am okay. I mean, I think 3-4 questions इधर उधर तो हो ही जाता है. Depends on, right? So I'm not surprised by that. If it is a 99 marks to 90 marks, right? But if it is a 99 percentile to 90 percentile, I think, I mean, please do a very thorough analysis of why this happened. I scored 69. Is the score satisfactory? Is it? I'm getting a echo. Is it not up to mark? I think 70 is a fairly good score at this stage. I think you can definitely push this further. I mean, don't start thinking this is not a good score. It's actually a good score, very good score from which you can, I mean, it's a good platform from which you can leapfrog. So I think that's what you must see. Vanshika, to move from 60s to, so rather 70s to 90s, we are talking about getting about reducing 2 or 3 mistakes and attempting 2 or 3 questions more, right? I think that can, if that can make a difference, I mean, 5 questions can make a difference of pushing you from where you are to around 88 90s, right? That's what you must focus on, I think. But I think, to answer your question, it's a very good score, right? I think at this point in time it's a good score.
So, okay. So
to solve cons at a faster pace.
My simple take is just read the options before you pick up paper and pen. I think they give fairly good idea के answer कैसे आना चाहिए. And a lot of times you don't even need to pick up paper and pen if you are reading options beforehand. So उससे थोड़ी जल्दी हो जाती है. And whenever you are solving a question, just imagine everything that what exactly is happening. Or when you think of a jugaad, then I think you need to imagine everything. And to have jugaad, you need to be very clear with all the concepts. So अगर आपके कंसेप्ट बहुत क्लियर हैं और आप ऑप्शन पहले पढ़ रहे हैं पेपर और पेन उठाने के पहले, तो मुझे लगता है उससे स्पीड बिल्ड हो जाएगी. स्टार्ट में इट इज गोइंग टू टेक मोर टाइम. जो क्वेश्चन आप 3 मिनट में कर सकते हैं, हो सकता है उस क्वेश्चन में 7 मिनट लग रहे हो, लेकिन इवेंचुअली योर टाइम विल डिक्रीज. एंड इवेंचुअली का मतलब 2 दिन 4 दिन नहीं, इट इज गोइंग टू टेक 15-20 days, लेकिन उसके बाद यू आर गोइंग टू सी सिग्निफिकेंट डिक्रीज इन टाइम. So जब भी आप क्वेश्चन करें, when you are solving, I am not saying do it in mock, when you are practicing, just read the options beforehand and pick up paper and pen later when you are unable to eliminate 2-3 options. तब. So this is my take.
Shashank, am I audible now?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, GP.
चलो ठीक है. Some problem with my computer, तो मैंने फोन से भी साथ में लॉग इन कर लिया है. So hopefully now it should work. बाकी कल चेक करते हैं. Okay. Yeah, yeah. This one I thought I should pick up. देखो, Ravish, now picking up books is not going to be of great help. My suggestion would be to look at the old cat papers, look at your mock cats, and look at the daily dose. Every mock cat, every old cat paper will help you understand the basic concepts which are likely to appear in the paper, which have a higher probability of appearing in the paper. At least वो सब समझ लो. And if nothing else, you can be reasonably sure that in the from the older cat paper, the concepts will get repeated. So if you revise them thoroughly, there's a reasonably good chance that if not more, you'll end up doing at least 7-8 questions comfortably. शशांक पेपर देख लिया था एक बार पूरा डिस्कस हो गया.
पेपर डिस्कस नहीं हुआ. Should I share the paper?
हाँ कर लो, पेपर शेयर कर लो. एक ही और सवाल ले रहा हूँ. Now, those of you who are having stagnant scores, one of the things you need to ask yourself, are you revising? Because revision से क्या होता है, your speed goes up, your accuracy goes up. And when I'm saying you need to revise the important question or the data sets where you get stuck. Okay.
This one, I think this is one of the easiest set.
Yes, थोड़ा confuse करता है, और ऐसे वाले set में there's always a chance you'll get one odd question wrong. But there's a set which I would believe should be attempted, because what made it easy was one switch and one bulb. If it was one switch is responsible for multiple bulbs आ जाता, तो confusion हो सकती थी, or multiple switches for multiple bulbs. So this was a fairly straightforward thing.
So I started with B. चारों same है, तो चारों की position भी same होनी चाहिए.
Right.
That is
Right.
B6. तो वहां से फिर आइडिया लग गया, तो वो समझ में आ गया कि सारी चीजें सेम ही होंगी. So this was, I think, so GP sir, I told that my attempt is I would pick the fifth one first, then first one, then third one, then second one, and last में fourth one. So fifth one मैं आपको पहले बता देता हूँ, ये वाला है.
हाँ, देखो, when I looked at this paper, to me, what I felt my preference would be 1, 2, and 5. That I would prefer doing these. जो वेन डायग्राम वाला है उसको कर सकते हैं, but again, question are minima, maxima, no numbers given, all ratios given, so it might take some time. So which is why I pushed it for later, though आसानी से हो सकता था. Okay. So but to my mind, 1, 2, and 5 are the one which I would believe सबको कर लेना चाहिए था.
Same here. This one was a little trickier. I would say fourth or 10 नहीं करना चाहिए था किसी को भी. This one has taken a lot of time.
Yeah, fourth का problem वही था. When you look at set number 4, that Vidhan Sabha election wala, that you'll have to start making cases, okay? And you'll have to start fitting in. So which can be a little confusing, which can be a little tricky at times. So that is why to me it was not a preferred one. My order of idea, as I said, 1 to 5 are the ones that I would do first. Then go to Venn diagram. After that, I'll go to 39 to 40 to this particular set.
So basically ये वाला भी आसानी था, ज़्यादा उसमें कोई struggle था नहीं. This was I think this paper was very easy to moderate. Score ठीक हो सकता था इसमें. Now this is QA.
Yeah. Question 1 लंबा था पढ़ने में, but from a solution point of view, I don't think it was an issue at all. Yeah. Question 2 again should have been straightforward.
Just draw the figure, everyone will get the answer. कुछ नहीं करना
Yeah.
इसमें. Question number 49. 49, I think it is very standard question के वो लिखते चले जाओ, repetition शुरू हो जाएगा.
साइक्लिसिटी का सवाल होते हैं, ये पैटर्न के सवाल होते हैं. You write down first 5-7 terms. Somewhere along the line, you'll hit the pattern, and that is where you have the answer. Question 50 आसान है यार, लेकिन थोड़ा पेनफुल लगते हैं ऐसे सवाल मुझे. Because you have to go through the complete process, write down the entire story, and then you will get the answer. So for me, typically a question like question 50 will be many a times a round 2 question. यार इतना कौन लिखेगा? जब फुर्सत होगी एंड में बैठ के लिख लें. My basic focus initially is to just finish off the easy questions. This is easy. I'm looking at the question which I can do within, let's say, 2.5 minutes also. But this is a very good question for those students who are not very good in quant. If you just follow the process, write the equation, you will get the answer. Okay, so question 50, if you are not good in quant, you should definitely attempt it. Don't leave it for round 2, do it in round 1 itself.
Question number 51, वही question है कि standard mod है. X plus y is equal to 10 power z, x square plus y square is equal to 10 power z plus 1. उसके आगे देख लो.
हाँ, बट ये मेरे को पेनफुल लगता है क्वेश्चन 51.
हाँ.
Though I was looking at the graph, I'm pleasantly surprised that the accuracy rate of this question is fairly high.
Fairly high. और इसमें क्योंकि वो x cube plus y cube है ना, तो x cube plus y cube is x plus y into x square plus y square plus x square.
Yeah. So if you remember the formula, it's a question which is easy to attempt. If you don't remember the formula, then struggle आएगा.
Right.
Okay.
Question number 52.
52. Okay.
So
Now all these questions like question 52, ये choices जो है हटा के बहुत बुरा करते हो. Because these are questions where choices are usually going to be helpful. Not that you will be able to solve it, but at least you know, okay, this number is coming, this is among the choices, तो ठीक है ये. When it is a theta, it is always a question, ये कुछ miss तो नहीं हो गया. कुछ plus minus 1 का हमेशा डर लगा रहता है मुझे तो at least. So one call in every 3 days, 1 in 4 days, 1 in 5 days. So you'll do individually divide by 3, divide by 4, divide by 5. Then you will do it is a Venn diagram, yeah, set theory है basically. Individually exactly 2, minus exactly 2, plus minus not exactly 2, sorry, minus 2 plus 3, plus all 3. So, but ठीक है, इसको करना चाहिए है. But as I said, I'm a little tentative with such questions because एक आध मिस हो गया तो गलती होगी. On the contrary, to me, question 53 is a better question. Because it says the difference between speeds of both A and B is 2 kilometers per hour. So 15, 14 या 30 and 28 होगा.
हाँ, सीधे खत्म हो गया.
Yeah.
Question number 54.
हाँ.
तो मैं तो नहीं करूँगा इसको.
Number of ordered pairs देखते हैं, and again choices बहुत खतरनाक है. 56, 57, 58, 59. This is again this is the reason why many of these questions become round 2 questions for me. Because the moment I look at these questions, I know कि यार इसमें एक केस गलत हुआ, मिस हुआ, and then that's the end of the story. So for me, these are always round 2 questions. Question 54 kind of question. This again, the choices were somewhat far apart. One choice in early 50s, one choice in late 50s, another choice in 60s, and another choice in 40s. I would have picked it up. कि यार ठीक है, एक दो केस ऊपर नीचे का फर्क नहीं पड़ना. Okay. 55 again. If you know that इसको घुमाओगे तो कौन बनेगा?
और उसमें लिखा ही है कि कौन बनेगा.
हाँ, oh, volume of the cone लिखा ही हुआ है, right? हाँ. So it is 1/3 pi r square h equal to 324 pi. The other one will be 1/3 pi r h square equal to 432 pi. Simple, straightforward है, ये पक्का करना चाहिए. 56 you could have eliminated the choices. 50,000 8% per annum, ये 3 साल है. While it is written compounded annually, effectively it is simple interest only क्यों एक साल बाद interest निकाल लिया है. So every year you'll get 4,000 interest, so 62 से तो ऊपर होगा. And 62,840 is too close because the first 4,000 will get simple interest will in the other scheme, in scheme B, will be for 2 years, which offers 10% per annum, so उस पर 21% आ जाएगा. तो 62 से ऊपर 63 के ऊपर चला जाना चाहिए.
हाँ कुछ करने नहीं है. Question number 57.
Question 57 is okay.
What is the sum of
Sum
possible?
Sum of possible integral values of P. Round 2.
Round 2. Question number
Okay.
58.
And इसकी equation भी अच्छी नहीं दिखती है. Not that it is difficult as such. A and B are roots of the equation. A is between 0 and 1. B is between 1 and 2. What is sum of all possible values of integral values of P?
अगर इस क्वेश्चन में होता व्हाट इज द वैल्यू ऑफ पी तो ए और बी की वैल्यू अज्यूम करके देख लो.
नहीं फिर तो बहुत अच्छा हो जाता.
Now question number 58.
58. Yeah, 58 is again a standard. I would not say standard, but if the highest is x and the lowest is y, then x minus y is given to you. Secondly, if you can just write down the average. The average of 21 stones is, let's say, z. Then the average of the first 20, you can proportionately increase and decrease. दो equation आएगी, you can solve it. Question 59 to me is similar to one of the earlier questions. शशांक अगर ऊपर जाओगे, जिसमें A1, A2 था ना? 49. Yeah. Question 49 and this question number, which one was this? 59 are the same.
59.
दोनों में pattern निकालना है तुम्हें. In both of them you have to write down. हाँ?
इसमें F8 है.
हाँ, but शिवको इसमें है. Even in that question, I'll probably need to write till A6, A7.
Correct. तो वो ये 2028 देख के ना कुछ लोग थोड़ा हट जाएंगे.
हाँ, but to me what people need to remember ये cyclicity का सवाल है और कुछ नहीं चाहिए. Pattern identify करना है. Whether it is question 49 or 59, in both these questions you have to find the pattern. So write down the first 6, 7 terms or 5 terms as the case may be, and based on that you can extrapolate the rest of the stuff. Yeah.
Question number 60.
60 तो
60 तो हो जाना चाहिए.
इक्वेशन लिखते ही पता चल गया कि 56.25% होगा.
हाँ?
This is a जुगाड़ question to me. इसके अंदर when you look at this question, initially he has 40% marks. After re-evaluation, marks increased by 60% of the original score. So 60% of total is equal to P plus 30, where P is the pass marks. Similarly, the other case is 50% होगा ना? हाँ. Increased by 25% of the original score. So 50% of total is equal to P minus 50. So gap of 80 is equal to your 10%. ऐसे कुछ था. So the other way to look at it is the answer will be between 50 and 60%. Shashank, can you write down the equation for the benefit of students?
देखते हैं. Can I write it? नहीं. इसमें
नहीं है इसमें.
नहीं. PPT में लिख सकता हूँ.
हाँ, PPT में लिख दो. Just go to the PPT. I'll just speak out.
I have to share the PPT then. Unshare this.
No problem. Question मुझे याद है.
ठीक है.
और आधा I have the question paper also with me. I'll open it.
ठीक है. Just give me a moment. यही लिख देता हूँ. हाँ.
हाँ. So Shashank, the equation would be 60% of total.
60% of total
should be equal to P plus 30. P for pass marks.
P plus 30.
And the other one is 50% of total. P minus 50. Now, पहली चीज है. This means pass marks is between 50 and 60. It has to be more than 55% because
It has,
pass marks is closer to 60%. Now that means you have eliminated two choices. Those choices जो थी 55 से 55 and 52.5 are eliminated. You are left with 58.65 75 and 56.25. Now this is a 30 by 80 ना 3 by 8.
हाँ. So
एलिगेशन का बेसिक याद है, मिक्सचर्स का बेसिक याद है तो उससे भी हो जाएगा.
हाँ, लेकिन इसको करने का एक और तरीका भी है कि we draw the number line. Pass mark should be here. This is 30. This is 50.
This is 50 yeah.
This is 10%. So 10% is 80.
10%. बिल्कुल 10%
So
is 80. So 5
so
by
cutting,
5 by 8 of 10%. 5 by 8 of 80 sorry.
हाँ. So 56% से ज्यादा होगा तो
हाँ.
56 पॉइंट समथिंग बन जाएगा. हाँ.
See 5 by 8 is 6.25% ना.
हाँ, 586
सीधा आ जाता है इसे 56.25%. जहां पे 30-50 दिखा this has to be 3 by 8 or 5 by 8. More than 50, more than 55 so has to be 3 by 56.25%.
हाँ. Now question number 61.
ये भी यार ये हिट एंड ट्रायल वाला है. सब कुछ तो दे रखा है. x plus y is less than equal to 12. Y is greater than equal to 1. X is greater than equal to 2 and less than 10. So the smallest possible value of x is यहाँ पे I want the maximum possible value of 3x plus 4y. So I would want y to be as big as possible. So take y as 10, x as 2 because x cannot be less than 2. So 46. इसके अलावा आप कोई भी केस डालोगे, एक दो केस और डाल के देख लो, वैल्यू कम ही आएगी. ये सीधा हिट एंड ट्रायल का सवाल था, इसमें कुछ दिमाग नहीं लगाना. क्वेश्चन 62 बहुत अच्छा क्वेश्चन है, देखते ही छोड़ दिया मैंने तो. भाई वो करना ही नहीं है ऐसा सवाल. पढ़ने में एक रीडिंग में जो समझ नहीं आ रहा है, there's confusion all over the place. I don't want to touch that question. So in the first reading, I should at least have a broad idea as to कहना क्या है मुझे, या क्या क्या है क्वेश्चन.
मैं तो ये नंबर देख के ही छोड़ूंगा.
हाँ, मैं नंबर्स को झेल सकता हूँ यार, बट मेरे को कॉम्प्रिहेंशन ठीक होनी चाहिए. I could not fully comprehend the question when I was reading it. 63 is again a straightforward question. For it to be a multiple of 9, all the 9 dates 1 to 9 have to be there, or at least 1 to 8 have to be there. 8 plus 1 is 9, 7 to 9, 6, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. 1 to 8 होगा या 1 to 9 होगा?
नहीं, लेकिन k की वैल्यू जो है वो 200 से 300 के बीच में है.
हाँ ठीक है ना. So if you look at how many digits can be there? So if you look at multiples of 9 will be till 198. 180 plus 18, 198 तक तो हो गया. 199 will be 1. 200 will be 2. Right? And then the 198 के बाद 9 और आएगा 207. तो 206 पे भी आना चाहिए, 207 पे भी आना चाहिए. Yeah.
Next one.
After that, you can just keep adding 9 each.
Lalit and
This again I would put for round 2. I'll put for round 2 because this again talk about how many times. Okay, when Ishan passes Lalit for the 4th time, how many times has Lalit returned to the point P? So, and again, if you look at the choices, थोड़ी सी ज़्यादा हैं, 12, 13, 14, 15. So I'll need to probably do a couple of steps extra to get it.
Question number 65.
Question 65 is either a round 1 or a round 3 question. It is not a round 2 question because if you can draw the figure and it strikes you clearly, तो immediately हो जाएगा. To me, this is a very big triangle. उसके ऊपर एक छोटा सर्कल है, बीच में हेक्सागन है और नीचे एक सर्कल है जिसके आसपास अगेन हेक्सागन है.
Right.
I'll put that in the Jugaad solution. Okay? And there all you need to do is look at the ratio of the side. Because ultimately, the area of the, or let me say the radius of the circle will be proportional to the side of the triangle. So the area also should be proportional to it. area of the circle should also be proportional.
ये तो वैसे अटेम्प्ट करना नहीं चाहिए एग्जाम में.
मैं वही बोल रहा हूँ, या तो राउंड 1 है राउंड 3 है, बीच का नहीं है ये. 65 अगर पहले किया है स्ट्राइक कर जाएगा तो ठीक है, नहीं किया तो छोड़ देना चाहिए है.
लेकिन
बट शिव
मैं
को
एक
इसका
बात
फिगर भी बनाओगे ना, शिव को इफ यू
हम्म.
मेक द फिगर ऑल्सो ना, तब भी आइडिया लग जाता है. फॉर
करेक्ट.
एग्जाम्पल फर्स्ट साइड इज सेइंग द रेडियस ऑफ द रेशियो ऑफ द रेडियाई इज 1:3. नहीं हो सकता, फिगर बनाओ, दिखता नहीं है. ठीक है.
लेकिन
सेकेंड वन इज सेइंग द रेशियो ऑफ रेडियाई इज ये 1:40 हो गया रफली, से लेट्स से 1:6 हो गया. तो 81 is 1:9, 27 will be 1:5.5 let's say.
लेकिन मैं एक बात बताऊं इस क्वेश्चन में.
हाँ.
रेशियो ऑफ एरिया पूछा हुआ है, तो रेशियो ऑफ एरिया अगर पूछा हुआ है तो दैट शुड बी r1 स्क्वायर अपॉन r2 स्क्वायर. तो न्यूमरेटर डिनोमिनेटर दोनों स्क्वायर होने चाहिए. सो सेकंड ऑप्शन और थर्ड ऑप्शन तो चला गया.
हाँ.
तो फर्स्ट और फोर्थ बचा, मतलब रेडियस का रेशियो 1:3 या 1:9 होना चाहिए. तो अगर फिगर ड्रॉ करेंगे तो आंसर फोर्थ ही आएगा, क्योंकि वो क्लियरली.
हाँ, मैं वही बोल रहा हूँ ना, तुम फिगर नहीं, बट इसमें एक और सेकंड एंड थर्ड कैसे एलिमिनेट किया? व्हाट डिड यू से शशांक?
मैंने बोला कि देखो r1 स्क्वायर अपॉन r2 स्क्वायर चाहिए.
ठीक है.
तो न्यूमरेटर डिनोमिनेटर दोनों परफेक्ट स्क्वायर होने चाहिए.
हाँ, बिल्कुल ठीक कह रहे हैं, दैट्स राइट, बिल्कुल ठीक कह रहे हैं. बट मैं कह रहा हूँ तुम बोथ नहीं भी करते ना शशांक, इवन इफ यू डोंट डू दैट, look at choice 2, 1:40, 1:40 or approximately, so there is 1:6.5 in terms of radii.
Right.
The third choice is 1:5.5 roughly. ठीक है. If you draw the figure clearly दिखता है कि 1:7.8 से तो ऊपर ही जाएगा. But what you said is absolutely right. That is r1 square upon r2 square, so obviously both the numbers should be perfect squares.
तो रेडियस 1/3 1/9 होगी, अब 1/3 तो नहीं है. Question 66.
66 I would do only with the help of choices. Substitute and check. I will start with choice either 45 or 48. बीच की choice उठा के check करूंगा. Then I'll either move up or move down, as the case may be. To me, I will not do this question. Mathematically, अगर वो करना पड़ गया तो I will leave. But even then, it's a round 2 question because I have to check maybe 2 to 3 choices.
Now question number 67. 67 and 68.
This one I can do. Has no real roots, that means discriminant is less than 0. उससे एक condition आ जाएगी. And the second one has 2 distinct real roots, that means discriminant is greater than 0 in the second equation.
The second condition.
ये वाला पक्का हो जाएगा. छोटी सी इक्वेशन है, ज्यादा तकलीफ नहीं करेगा. लास्ट क्वेश्चन अगेन इज योर स्टैंडर्ड मिक्सचर्स का क्वेश्चन.
तो 13-14 क्वेश्चन तो इस पेपर में थे करने लायक, आसान.
हाँ, so if I look at this 1, 2, I'm not counting the jugaad ones.
So let me mark question number 68.
Yeah, 1. 67 also.
67 also.
Yeah, 2.
Question number
63 I would count.
63. कुछ 61 तो पक्का ही होना चाहिए.
पक्का. 60 भी है. 59, 58. Okay.
56.
Yeah, 56 absolutely right. 55 also.
55, 53. 52.
I think Sean ने नहीं किया होगा 52, but I don't know. 51 भी नहीं, 50 तो कर लेंगे. टाइम लगेगा लेकिन हो जाएगा. 49 again is your pattern question. 48 also.
47 is
47 also. तो कितने हो जाते हैं?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14.
Yeah.
14 में से 10 लेके चलो.
हाँ, 14 में से 10 कर लेगा तो अच्छा है मेरे हिसाब से.
मुझे भी लगता है बढ़िया. सो ये ओवरऑल ये इस वाले पेपर का वो है सीन है. ठीक है. सो लेकिन इफ आई शो द ग्राफ इज लिटिल स्क्यूड, क्योंकि इसमें पूरा जो ग्रीन है वो लेफ्ट हैंड साइड पे ही है, राइट हैंड साइड पे
नहीं,
नहीं.
क्योंकि स्टूडेंट्स ने जो है, आई वाज लुकिंग एट दिस ग्राफ एंड माय फीलिंग वाज दैट people have not really gone to the back end of the graph of the question paper. शुरू में लग के कहते रहे. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, इफ आई लुक एट दीज क्वेश्चंस, क्वेश्चन नंबर 50, 49 देखो, 49 people have not attempted much और एक्यूरेसी भी खराब है. क्वेश्चन नंबर 50 could have been done in round 2 also. क्वेश्चन 51 बहुत हाई एक्यूरेसी है, सबने कर दिया सही, दैट्स ग्रेट, बट आई एम श्योर इसमें टाइम भी लगा होगा. तो बिकॉज पीपल वर नॉट विलिंग टू लीव क्वेश्चन, तो इसलिए एंड के सवाल लोगों से नहीं हुए हैं. Otherwise, question 68 was a very straightforward. If you look at the last two questions, were very straight, simple. So this has a bias because people were getting questions just solvable. They kept on doing all the questions.
Let's pick up a couple of questions. Keep going.
Yeah. Yeah, Shivku.
Hi sir, is it possible to improve from 35 to 70 in the next 2 months?
Easily possible, यार. देखो, काम करना पड़ेगा, but it is possible. And I will again repeat what I said a little while ago. Your focus now should shift to, by and large, mocks, ORCAD papers, and daily dose. All your learning should happen through here. Pick up one ORCAD paper, go through all the questions, look at their solution, identify which question you will definitely not be able to handle. Ideal should be able to handle all of them, but फिर भी 2-3 सवाल नहीं दिखते हैं जो पसंद आते हैं, तो leave them. But out of the remaining questions, can you identify which are the questions which you should revise regularly? These are the ones where you get confused, which you are able to solve, but you make mistakes. Same thing for DILR also. Okay, so when it comes to quant and DILR, it is very easy to improve. All you need to do is focus on the old CAT papers. Do the same thing for mocks also. Every question just appeared in an old CAT paper or mock CAT. You should be thorough with it. Just focus on this part, and from your practice perspective, daily dose is there in any case.
Cruz का बार आया है, so I thought I'll pick it up. Sir, verbal consistently 50% accuracy, how to improve? I read every day, but still.
Clues. To my mind, verbal is not about reading every day. Verbal is about trying to understand the passage, get the big picture, and based on that, mark the answers, what you think are right. Okay? The challenge is, the thing which happens many a times in verbal is, even the question which we are not able to understand fully, we try to go through the passage again or try to eliminate choices, zabardasti se, to get the answer. And that is where you tend to lose marks. So when you say accuracy is poor, most probably it is because you are attempting more than what you should. Even the question which you are not sure of, you are not clear about the logic, or you have not understood either the passage or the question, you still try to attempt it. That normally leads to negative marking. So in every passage, if you leave 1 or 2 questions, it's not a big deal. Instead of 16 question RC, if you do 10 to 12, it's perfectly fine. Okay, even if you do 10 questions and get 8 right, you have got 24 marks. And if you do another 3-4 questions correctly or verbal, you are at 35.
Sorry. I get 13 VARC, but together in LRD and QA, I'm getting only 17.
Muskan, sorry,
I mean, you start by saying कि एक सेट करनी है और 5 क्वेश्चंस को क्वांट में करना है. You start there, right? whether it is arithmetic is the only thing that you want to do, just go back, look at all the arithmetic questions, right? Because I mean, until and unless you do one set and 5 questions of, you know, doing one set of LRDA in 40 minutes and 5 questions, that's about 10 questions. That itself will push your marks to 60. So I guess it is, you set your targets a little low instead of getting hassled by so many questions to do. You say, which are my 5 questions to do? Which is that one set I have to do? I mean, that's my point of view. GP?
नहीं यही है. See, need to Muskan, you need to start small rather than look at the paper as a whole. कि इसमें 22 questions of quant and 22 of DILR or 5 sets of DILR. Tell yourself, I have got 40 minutes and I have to attempt 5 or 6 questions. But the Muskan, other question I would have for you is, after the paper, after the mock rather, how many questions are you able to solve in quant without looking at the solution? If that number is 3, 4, or 5, or 6, or 7, then you are deficient in knowledge, and this will and no amount of let's say strategy will work, because there's a gap of knowledge. However, if you say that I'm able to solve 10 to 12 questions afterwards without looking at the solution, then what we are saying will work. Okay? So you need to first decide कि मेरा knowledge का issue है या कोई और issue है. Because as I said, if after the paper also you are not able to set any set at all of DILR, then it's a knowledge issue. You need to practice more. You need to give yourself more exposure. And same thing in quant. But after the paper, you are able to solve 3 sets or 2 sets, but paper में नहीं होता, then ये strategy का issue है. Okay, Kshitij, PYQ for geometry is enough. I would say enough है, but साथ में जो है mocks की भी कर लेना. So all geometry questions of old CAT papers, especially 17 to 24, as well as mock CAT should be good enough. Okay? Assuming you don't want to really go deep into geometry. Okay? And how much time must, I would believe 8 to 9 minutes for the RC is good enough. 3 odd minutes to read, about 5, 6 minutes to mark the answers. Obviously, this assumes that you will read the passage once at a speed at which you're comfortable. Secondly, when you get stuck with a question, you leave it and move on, and you'll not go back to the passage to search for the answer. Because if you have to go back to the passage to search for the answer, you'll end up wasting a lot of time. And then that time will eat into the time of subsequent passages.
Sir, I'll leave now. I have a class.
Yeah.
We'll just take a couple of more questions and
शिवू एक ये सवाल आया यार.
So Adarsh, how can you score 98 because total score of QA was 66 only?
98 percentile.
Oh, so I thought his score has dropped from 98 to 20. Okay.
नहीं कैसे यार, तू कैसा आदमी है? तो 98 percentile, which means he would have got around 33, 34, 34, 35-ish.
Yeah.
And he's saying it's gone to 20, 25.
2 सवाल नीचे आ गए, 2 से 3.
2 से 3 नीचे है. I'm able to solve 15 to 17 but not able to score in mocks. How can I push close to 40 plus? देखो मैं तो I will suggest कि 40 plus तुम सोचो मत. पहले 35 ले आओ. Get back to that. So which implies I would say कि get 12 questions right. I don't care whether you do 17 questions or 12 questions. Your first target will be to get 10 to 12 questions right. So instead of focusing on doing 17 questions, I think the moment you say 17 questions, you'll put a lot of pressure on yourself. अगर तुम्हारा 98 आया है, अगर 98 पिछले बार आया है, I mean there is no reason why you shouldn't get 98 this year.
आदर्श एक चीज खुद से पूछो, are you doing the paper differently this time? Are you trying to attempt more questions than what you can? Are you trying to attempt the questions which are difficult and you should be leaving also? Where are you wasting time? Just have a look at that issue also. That might tell you क्या करना है.
I think we'll pick up one couple of more questions, GP, and then I'll close. मेरा भी class है 9:30.
हाँ ठीक है.
क्षितिज है, संकल्प, Aditi, I think 94-95%. You should know what is the, I mean, 2024 का जो 94-95 percentile है, right? That's a score. I mean, from you are getting 43-45 in mock. If you have to hit a 95 percentile, 96 percentile, you need to at least look for about 20 marks more. Sir, Yash कहता है कि my scores are suddenly dropped. What should I do? कुछ नहीं, कुछ revise करो.
हाँ, yes. देखो, when you say my scores have suddenly dropped, can you ask yourself why? How are you? What are you doing differently in the paper now because of which it has dropped? देखो, हम में से कोई कुछ नहीं बता सकता. Being very, very honest, मुझे नहीं मालूम तुम्हारे स्कोर क्यों गिरे हैं. The only thing I can tell you is that these are the issues which you should evaluate, based on which you will yourself know क्यों गिर गया है. Again, as I said a little while ago to someone else, are you attempting every question which is coming your way? Are you picking up difficult questions also? So those are the questions you need to ask yourself. How has your behavior changed in the paper now as compared to earlier?
Shubhang, I think focus on mocks, focus on CAT PYQs, right? Just focus on these two. I don't think it is it's a good idea to go to the funda books and start from funda books all over again. I think there's enough of content that you have section tests, topic tests, mocks. इसी में बहुत, I mean, you got the world of DI that you need to finish. So I would not suggest that you must go to the funda book at this point in time.
See, I will again repeat what I said a little while ago, a couple of times actually. Focus on the old CAT papers 17 to 24. These papers have about 110 or 115 sets of data. Make sure you have done each one of them. Bookmark the one we should be revising and revise them once a week. Do the same thing for all the mocks. In addition to that, do the same thing for quant also. So quant, DILR, this is exactly what you need to do between CAT, old CAT papers, PYQs, that is, the mock CATs and daily dose. You have quite a large amount of work in front of you. उसके ऊपर सेक्शन टेस्ट, टॉपिक टेस्ट डालेंगे तो और ज्यादा हो जाएगा, बट बेसिक्स पहले कवर कर लो. फंडा बुक को आप साइड पे फेंक दो, हर चीज की कोई जरूरत नहीं है.
एक कस्तूरी वाला क्वेश्चन आई एम श्योर इट मस्ट बी देयर इन लॉट ऑफ पीपल्स माइंड्स. अभी 80-85 आ रहा है, शुड आई इवन ट्राई लुकिंग एट 95? देखो, 80 to 85 percentile, 85 percentile to 95 percentile, I would say is about getting 2 questions right instead of wrong in each of the sections. So the moment you can convert mistakes into correct with the same attempts, and if you get 1 or 2 questions in each of the sections, or you increase your attempt by 2 questions, you will increase your scores by 20, and 20 could mean actually on the higher side of your 95 percentile. So I think look at it like that. Fix the errors that you have. I don't see any reason why somebody cannot move from 80, 85 to 90, 95 percentile plus.
And then and Kasturi, every year we have large number of students who a couple of months before CAT around 80 percentile, and around CAT they become 97, 98 and 99.5 plus also. So time है, आराम से हो जाएगा, लगे रहो बस, छोड़ना मत. एक शिव कुछ संकल्प का ले लेते हैं. Last question, I would believe. Set selection is right, but I'm only able to solve one set completely. So Sankalp, is it a question of speed? Do you have sufficient practice? Have you revised sufficiently? Because if set selection is fine and you are not able to solve it, it could be either because you have not done sufficient revision. It could also be, more importantly, because you are trying to move fast and you are missing out on data. क्योंकि set selection कर दिया, आप जल्दी करके you want to attempt larger number of data sets and questions, it will lead to errors, and that could be a reason why you are not able to attempt. तो एक बार इस चीज को भी देख लो अपना.
इसमें क्या कह रहा है? I'm able to solve one set completely in 40 minutes, I'm assuming, but I can solve it in 10 minutes otherwise. ऐसे कैसे हो सकता है?
बॉक्स में 40 मिनट लग रहा है, so doubly cautious हो जाएगा. एक डेटा पढ़ा, इक्वेशन में उसमें टेबल में डाला, फिर से डेटा पढ़ने बैठ गए. Okay, so either you are being extremely cautious or you are being extremely careless, which means you are rushing through the data and hence missing out on information, because of which you are not able to get the answers. So just check where are you going wrong with respect to attempting the paper. Okay.
ठीक है. So I think we'll close it.
Yeah.
GP. I think.
So,
Hello
okay.
guys. Good night. Bye.
Right.